Introduction to the poem The Hollow Man by T.S Eliot. The Hollow Man was published in 1925 after the First World War. As it is a modern poem, so it is in fragments divided in 5 parts. The poem contains 98 lines. Eliot has adopted the idea of the title The Hollow Man from the titles of the romance The Hollow Land by William Morris with the poem The Broken Man by Rudyard Kipling. But the question comes, who are the hollow men? Hollow men are spiritually and morally empty in themselves. Eliot included them in his poems because they were dwelling in an empty land where everything was devastated. The devastation after the First World War. The poem Hollow Man begins with an epigraph of the death of Mr. Kurtz, a character from Joseph Conrad's Heart of Darkness who was an ivory trader. In the second line, a penny for the old guy might denote a figure called Guy Fawkes, who tried to blow up the parliament in the 1600s. The speaker in the poem is a part of this barren land, where they describe themselves as hollow, as their life is between life and death. Their heads are filled with straws like the scarecrows, which means they are not alive, they are dead inside, walking like corpses. So whenever the speaker compares his words with winds blowing over the dry grass and rats' feet over broken glass in their dry cellar, as like whenever they try to speak their voices dry up, and when they try to whisper among themselves, the words become meaningless. They have the shape of human beings, but lack the qualities of being human. They have shade, but their life is colorless. Their force has no power, and their gestures have become lifeless. It has no motion. The men who exited this world and reached other kingdom of death, remembering the hollow men, who are not lost but violated. In the second section, the hollow men dream as their eyes in the death's kingdom, which means the speaker is afraid to meet his death. The sunlight means the truth of life, which falls on the broken column, means a traditional graveyard. Memorial for a premature death represents that everyone has to die, which is the universal truth. The wind singing and tree swinging alludes to the wind in dry grass in the first section, which shows the world is a conserver of life, and the stars which is fading because of hollow man's lack of faith in the afterlife. The speaker disguises himself in rat's coat, crow skin, and cross strips of wood in order to escape from death. The narrator is begging to escape the final judgment, while in the twilight kingdom, which represents sleep, redemption, and moral ambiguity. This is the dead land, this is cactus land. The speaker's tone remains same in this stanza too, that the land is dead, which is a metonymy that people are all dead. But this cactus land, where the cactuses are still alive, which means the land is not entirely dead. The stone image represents the various humankind, their wish for immortal life. Their dead hands symbolize their begging for salvation, but even in death. The fading star is the remains of their last hope. Is it like this? In death's other kingdom, the speaker picturizes the image of heaven. Waking alone, they are shivering for the sexual intimation. He is ready to fertile. Lips that would kiss. Imagines and waiting for a kiss which can be considered as sexual impulse transformed into a spiritual one. The line from praise to broken stone, conveying that speaker has no faith towards the God, and for him his prayers are going in vain, as the deity or the idol is broken. Eyes are not here, there are no eyes here. The line denotes that the hollow men does not have eyes, they are blind. The stars are dying in the valley, which means all of them have not died yet. There are still light in the valley with the stars that are there, but the valley is empty. Broken jaw offers an anthropological explanation of the Baganda, an African tribe who believe that the spirit of the dead clings to the jawbone. The jawbone of their deceased king is made into an effigy and put in a temple. But since this bone is broken, any leadership that could have been found in the talisman is gone. In this last of meeting places, we grope together and avoid speech gathered on this beach of the tumid river. These lines allude to the first stanza of the poem when hollow men speak when their words become meaningless. The hollow men gathered in blindness to avoid speech on the banks of the river. The river refers to Acheron, a branch of the mythical river Styx in Greece, that souls must grow into death. The eyes of faith might reappear as the perpetual star, the star over Bethlehem, the star of the Christian faith. The rose is the symbol of the incarnation of God in the human body of Jesus. The hollow men's only desire to reach heaven and get salvation as it's the only hope. Here we go round the prickly pear. Prickly pear, prickly pear. Here we go round the prickly pear at 5 o'clock in the morning. This is taken from a children's nursery rhyme. We go round and round the prickly pear tree in place of the mulberry tree early in the morning. Likewise, the men are dancing round the cactuses, round and round, childishly at 5 o'clock, which leads to nowhere. Between the idea and reality, between the motion and act, the fear of shadow falls. The speaker is in a state of bewilderment, and the only thing he can think of is the God's kingdom. He takes refuge and prays to him to remove his fear and frustration. Between any concept and creation, between emotion and response, there is only one who can do this is the ultimate, the God. Life is long and weary. Between every desire and every pain, between existence and non-existence, behind every internal and external power, there is one. Hope only lies in praying the God. The poem ends with, "This is the way world ends. This is the way the world ends. This is the way the world ends." Not with a bang, but a whimper. Such powerful lines said by Eliot. The world ends not with a bang or shouting, but ends silently. The world of the hollow men is filled with frustration and despair. They are lamenting on the dying souls. On seeing this terror, they are broken in themselves, because of which even they are not able to die peacefully.